All right, summertime spotted bass fishing. I absolutely love fishing for spotted bass. I do it all the time at home on Lake Lanier, all around the country. Anytime I can fish for spots, I'm a happy man. And if I had to pick one time a year that I would say, I guess I could take the most advantage of my skill set, it would be summertime spotted bass fishing. The number one thing for me in the summertime when it comes to spotted bass is brush piles, 100%. And they're gonna be anywhere from 15 all the way out to 40 foot typically. And those spotted bass, they're gonna suspend over the tops of the brush piles. Spotted bass, they're suspended fish by nature. We catch them on the bottom, especially in the spring and the winter. But in the summertime, the spotted bass want to be suspended. They get on the bottom at night, but as soon as that sun pops out, they're looking for a brush pile, a timber top, a bait ball, something to get on and suspend on. And my number one way to catch them all summer long is gonna be two things. It's gonna be a topwater. A topwater is what I wanna throw all the time if I can get away with it for spotted bass. And if you're on Lake Lanier, Lake Hartwell, Clarks Hill, anywhere with herring in it, that topwater is going to be absolutely killer. And one thing a lot of people don't realize coming to the lakes is when we think of topwater fishing, we think of doing it right off the rip in the morning. But for spotted bass, especially on brush piles, it can be noon, middle of the day, sunny and slick, and that'll be your best topwater bite of the day. And what you're doing is you're calling those spotted bass up out of the structure they're sitting on, whether it's a brush pile, timber, whatever it might be. They're suspended over top of it. You can do it without live scope, you can do it with live scope, but if you have live scope, you can point out there, you can see them suspended over that cover. And the goal for me is always to get that topwater bait out there past the brush pile, and I want to bring it over them. If you hit them short or you land right on top of them, it usually doesn't look very natural to them. You want it to look like a bait fish coming over top of them. So I want to get past those fish. I want to bring my topwater bait over the brush, call those spotted bass up, and it's an absolute feeding frenzy when you get them going. It's really fun. As far as specific topwater baits go, there's quite a few good ones. If I had to pick two, it'd be a bullet pop and a jaywalker, so a walking style bait. The jaywalker is more of a finessey walking style bait, and the bullet pop, obviously that's a popper. It's really loud. Believe it or not, on the calmest sunny days, you can absolutely destroy them on that big loud popper. Really like chrome and bone as my two colors. If you want to keep it really simple, that's all you need. If it's cloudy, throw bone. If it's cloudy out, throw bone. If it's sunny out, throw chrome. And if I had to pick one, it'd be chrome. It works in sunny and cloudy conditions. But if it's sunny out, make sure you've got some chrome in that bait. That or a clear-based color. And yeah, I'm focused on calling those fish to the surface. Topwater baits. I like a fluke style bait a lot as well, and a Sebile magic swimmer. So I'm never, for me personally, if I'm around herring, spotted bass in the summer, I don't want to throw anything mid-water column. I don't want to bring them to the bottom. If you want to trigger big spots, especially with herring present, you want to call them to the surface. And you just have to figure out what bait they want, whether it's that more walking style bait, a bullet pop, a Sebile magic swimmer, a fluke style bait, anything like that. You know, you just want to play it based off your conditions. Heavier wind, I really like that Sebile magic swimmer. Calmer conditions, I go more towards the topwaters and the fluke style baits. But if you have a good heavy wind day, we got a pretty good wind behind us right now, I really like that magic swimmer. I can throw it really far. I keep my rod tip up. I want that bait waking under the surface. Again, I'm trying to call those fish to the surface, and when they come up on it, it looks just like a blueback, and they go absolutely nuts on it. But as far as setups for those baits, for the topwater, I really like braid. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, but you can throw it really far, and we make really long casts for these spotted bass. Usually when you're fishing for them, you're in clearer water, and I'm throwing it all the way, 120, 130, 140 foot. So I'm gonna have 40-pound braid on. I'm gonna have a short mono leader, a foot or 2 foot of mono leader, and I'm gonna have it on a 7-1 medium power, moderate fast action rod. And the reason I have that rod is I don't want anything really heavy because I already have braid on there, and the braid doesn't have much stretch, so you're kind of using the rod to cancel that out. And you really do not lose many on that setup. So that's what I like for the topwater. And then the Sebile magic swimmer, I've actually really liked throwing it on mono, as crazy as that sounds. It keeps the bait up in the column, and like I said, that bait V-waking on the surface is really important. So for that Berkeley magic swimmer, I throw it on just a 7.3 medium heavy, 15 or 20 pound mono, and just a high gear ratio reel, 8-to-1. Same with the topwater. Pretty much anytime I'm fishing for spotted bass, I want the highest gear ratio I can get away with, so I can get them in quick, make another cast, they come up school and I want to get to them quick, anything like that. I'm always throwing high gear ratio reels, so high gear on that. And then for the fluke style bait, I always throw it on a spinning rod. 7-1 medium action spinning rod, 8-pound braid to a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader. I use all Fenwick world-class stuff and Abu reels, 8-pound X5 braid, that's my favorite. And those are kind of the setups for those. And the one other thing in the summer, if you're not seeing them suspended as much on cover, or you can't call those fish to the surface, say they're out there on bait balls, they're just swimming around in open water, the Jighead minnow, it's super hard to beat. I mean, you can get out there with forward-facing sonar. Like I said earlier, spotted bass, they're very nomadic. And if they're not on that structure, if they're chasing bait around, or they're just swimming out in the middle of the lake like spotted bass like to do, there's no better way to target them than that Jighead minnow. The difference with spotted bass versus largemouth, even sometimes smallmouth, spotted bass and smallmouth, they're a lot more similar than spots and largemouth. But you get those spots, man, they like that minnow fast. We've seen so many guys with big largemouth, they work that bait in more of a horizontal fashion. It's just kind of, you know, rolling along. The spotted bass, when they see that bait, I want to start pulling it from them quickly. They're aggressive fish, and if you make them think they're not going to be able to get it, they're going to come up and they're going to get it. So I'm working that bait a lot quicker than I normally would for largemouth, or if I'm trying to pull a fish out of cover. I want to get to that fish quick, let them see it, pull it quick, and if they're going to eat it, usually it's going to happen within a second or two of them seeing that bait. The largemouth, a lot of the times, they'll track the bait for a while and they'll eat it. What I've noticed with spotted bass, you know, I've been fishing for them for 15 to 20 years now, and what I've noticed with them is if they're going to eat a bait, it's usually going to happen pretty dang quick. So I'm going to work that thing quick. If they don't eat it, I'm going to find another one to throw at. And as far as head sizes go, you really just want to match that to how deep your fish are. So if you have fish in 40 foot that are swimming really fast in bait balls, I'll go all the way up to a 3/4 ounce, whereas if I have fish really high in the water column, really shallow, really spooky, I'll go all the way down to an 1/8 ounce, but still working that bait quick. 7.2 medium light action rod, same deal, 8-pound braid. I got a little custom double handle on here, something I like for minnow fishing, gives you a little more control. And yeah, that's a really good 1-2 punch in the summertime. You're either calling those fish to the surface off of cover, and if they're not on the cover and they're in the bait balls suspended around a little more, you can go down to them with that Jighead minnow. But top water fishing in the summer for me, for spotted bass, absolutely killer. I'll do it all day long, daylight to dark.